Ready like Freddy. Perfect. Welcome to Policy and Profit, the podcast for ambitious insurance agents and agency owners. About just swallowed my coffee down the wrong hole. So, this is for those of you who want to build profitable and predictable businesses without chasing bad leads or begging for referrals. And let me just be brutally honest with you for a second. Most agency owners aren't building a team, they are babysitting one. They spend their days chasing flaky prospects and time vampires, repeating the same recruiting pitch 5 times a week like a parrot, only to have no shows, ghosters, and broke dreamers drain their time and siphon their energy straight out of their veins. And worst of all, their personal production suffers, and they start resenting the team that you tried so hard to build. And if that's you, you're not lazy, you're just trying to scale using effort rather than systems, my dear friend. That's why I built the Autopilot Recruiter, a done-for-you system that helps you attract qualified agents, top producers, pre-sell them with your story, and get them onboarded with your funnel without doing another live Zoom, sales pitch, or three-way call ever again. It's the same system top recruiters are using to grow massive downlines in the hundreds that I'm being forced to sign NDAs over without sacrificing their commissions, their time, or their sanity. If you are ready to build a team that actually grows itself, go to writemorepolicies.com/playbook and download the free playbook today. Today's guest is an old and near and dear friend of mine, Saint Nick Early. Is it okay if I just call you Saint Nick? I think it's a funny thing because
Yeah,
we come bearing gifts down your chimney, okay? You had to pay nothing for these presents.
we
Uh,
do. Yeah, I actually have an old Facebook page that was called Saint Nick. I'm glad I didn't go down that route of the like enlightened guru, woo-woo stuff, and I went a little bit more in the practical route. But when I
woo-woo
first,
stuff is fun, but people look at you kind of weird, like they don't want to admit that they're friends with you to anybody. But they'll never comment on my posts, but they always message me like, "Dude, I totally believe what you're saying." Well, comment on my upline. Screw
Right.
your upline. So Nick is a friend of mine. He's one of the top marketing experts for attracting high net worth IUL clientele without using Ormy and finance or running paid ads. So Nick, welcome to the show. Tell me something you believe is the key to succeeding in insurance sales that most agents completely overlook.
I think it's strategy, man. I think it's strategy.
I agree. Tony Robbins says success in any endeavor is 10% like 10% tactics, strategy, and 90% psychology. And then we go deeper into that, it's 80% strategy, 20% tactics. So it's that Pareto principle of distribution. 80% of your results are going to come from 20% of the efforts. So talk to us more about why most agents follow the wrong strategy. Because if I look at it, all they do is increase the customer awareness and make themselves more obvious and rejectable. They spend all their time trying to chase new leads and
Oh
increase their
my God.
database of people already not giving you money. And yes, I say that with a smart ass attitude because it's dumb and you're not a dumb person. Quit doing dumb shit. Okay, if your agency owner is telling you to buy more leads, I'm saying, what the fuck are you doing with the existing leads that you already have? So, Nick, tell
Right.
us what you see that they're completely just
Gosh, man, it's
glossing
like you ripped
over.
the words out of my mouth. We have a shared sentiment there, and it's
Birds of a feather
that's
flock together, guys.
that way you
Find your
described
flock.
it is perfect, is they're building awareness that makes people just want to ignore them more, pretty much.
And so,
And
give us the strategy on what they should be doing.
so I will make a disclaimer here because I'm more in the IUL space and like a little less commoditized. And so if you're not willing to break into that a little bit or use some of the necessary components of it, I would say, and maybe not even necessary, just like some things that will generally help you out. Um, there's nothing wrong with being the commoditized agent. It's a little bit more of a grind that's you
Yeah, just
towards the
expect all
ends
your
of
customers
necessary.
to treat your sales process based on price rather than identity. So have fun with poor people who, what exactly am I getting, Nick, with this $20 a month policy?
Well, that's what I hate the most is I see these folks that are always posting like, I'm going to shop around 40 carriers to find the best deal for you. And it's like, that's BS because you get a bonus for using certain ones. So the more pressure and volume you apply in a area, you're going to get better results out of it. And number two, there's only a handful of carriers for specific scenarios that are going to be the best regardless of, so that's all just like a marketing thing. And the problem is it's rooted in the agent's thinking process and not in what clients actually want. Nobody ever comes to somebody and is
Hey,
like, I want you
hang
to
on. I just
shop
have to
around for
interrupt
40
right there.
carriers.
Say that one more time, because if I heard you correct, Nick, agents are selling whatever they want to sell rather than listening to what the customers want to buy. Did I hear you correctly right
That's correct. That's
there?
correct.
Okay, I was just making sure. What a concept.
That's the root of all their problems. That is the number one strategy problem, right? And so if we look at where is the leverage, I've been using this saying a little bit more of like the I don't know if it was Jackie Chan. I know it was one of the martial arts thing of like punching through the wall and not just at it, right? And there's the sales metric side of like I teach people social media a lot, right? It's like how to actually track some of the more ethereal parts of marketing. But beyond that, you have this like thing with your targeting and your avatar, your brand story, all this stuff that is where the leverage lies. Is it's like everyone can pretty much say that they're doing social media, but the way that my 3-year-old plays basketball is not the same way LeBron does. It's like if you're not getting clients from it, if you're not getting the exact type of lead quality for the message you want, then you're not really doing it, right? Then if people aren't using social media, then they're not even trying because I mean, it's still free to use, which who knows before Zuck and everyone will make it not the case. So they should be using the tools at their disposal.
Absolutely. And let me tell you guys how important traffic is. And so a lot of you are building your business on someone else's platform. And until you convert that traffic into stuff you own, like I just paid a lot of money to get a Discord server custom built to put all my customers into because I get tired of, I just saw a bunch of AI groups in Facebook the other day get shut down out of
Yeah.
nowhere. And imagine having a group of all your customers or Facebook shuts down and you don't have an email list, you don't have anything like that to go out and market, or Facebook is your only form of lead generation, which most of you are just buying leads anyway. So this doesn't even apply to you because the moment that lead vendor goes out of practice because of TCPA, upcoming laws and all that shit, you essentially, you're done. You're done.
Close
So
enough.
keep going deeper into that, Nick.
Yeah, so if we backtrack a little bit here, I want to hone in on what we said earlier with the listening thing, right? Because it doesn't really matter what you or I think is cool. It doesn't matter what the agent thinks is cool. Like there is some semblance of like your brand story and your affinity and the depth of soul that you put behind your conviction of the products and strategy you offer. That I'm not gonna say that doesn't matter at all. Like you have to communicate in a way that's compelling, but ultimately you got to communicate what the customer wants. And what I see for a lot of folks, and I think I've said this to you a couple times, is like the biggest problem I think happens in the marketplace is the IMOs and the carriers are scaling. They see agents as sales reps. Plug and play, we have the scripts, just use our stuff, use our leads, our systems. But they're doing the agent a disservice by not sharing with them that they're still responsible for their own identity and their own entity in the marketplace. They still have to generate awareness and desire for working with them, working with their products and services and their options. And they don't really share them how to do that or how to think about that stuff. They're just like, don't think about it. We have most of that done for you. And there is some benefit to that. Like, day one, I'm gonna tell an agent to smile and dial two because they got to get some reps in and they got to get some muscle memory and out of the learning from the paperwork and the textbook material to really have some skill. But beyond that, they have to choose a direction and a strategy. And there's an art to that. It's an art and a science, and I wish it was easier than it is, but it is pretty simple. I'm not gonna say it's easy. I'll never say it's easy. I'd be out of a job if it was so
Well,
easy
I mean,
without
you're
me.
not necessarily wrong. It is easy. It's just what's easy is also easy not to do.
That's right. So the first
It's
thing
easy
is
to
that
go
it's
watch
the same with the
Netflix
sales
compared to
principle.
dialing.
Let's listen to people and figure out what they want. And this is my kind of philosophy on the whole lead gen in general, not even just insurance industry, but there's only three ways to generate leads. You have a conversation with somebody, you can distribute an asset or a resource to have that conversation for you, and then you can focus on getting your time back and just distributing that, assuming it works, or you can hire somebody to do one of the first two. So anybody who says they have a system, even myself, because I'm sure my stuff looks shiny to a lot of folks, it's based on one of those principles or a combination of them. There's no way to get out of that. And I think what happens for a lot of people is they never really master number one. They really never master the conversation. They're trying to take shortcuts. and they don't really understand how to create something that's only a few sentences or a few paragraphs that can create the type of leverage and lead intent in something that's worth distributing. And so their marketing lacks the conviction, it lacks the ability to convert
Well, it's
because they're
not their
talking about what
marketing
they want to
lacks.
share, not what people want
Yeah.
to hear. They don't have the magic words. I don't think that saying the magic words does justice to what we're talking about, but if there's a way to simplify what we're talking about, you can't guess what that is. You have to figure out what it is and then drive deep on it. And it takes a lot of work to do that. I mean, it takes market research, it takes choosing who you're not going to be because you can't be everything to everybody. And so it's an exploratory art and process to even go down that pathway instead of just sticking your head in the sand and being like, figure it out for me.
Yeah, you said something really interesting. If you guys listen to what Nick just said, first off, your IMO they set you up for misery and failure and a life of self-deprecation and a repeating cycle of that. And then Nick said if you try to be everything for everyone, here's the thing. If you try to be everything for everyone, you'll end up being nothing for yourself. And there's only four parts of this business that matters. There's lead generation, there's lead conversion, sales. It's how do you get these people to give you money? And then
Mhm.
there's customer ascension. How do you make them worth more to you? And how do you get customer retention? How do you make sure they don't cancel their policies? Those are the only four things that you need to
Yeah.
be focusing on as a fucking insurance agent. I don't care what your upline tells you. I don't care what your IMO tells you. They treat you like they're customers because they make all their profit from selling you leads. And an agent, let's say you have an IMO of 10,000 people, Nick, right?
Hmm.
How many of those are actually top producers? 50?
Maybe 50, yeah.
Out of 10,000, you might have 50 that are doing anything remarkable with their license. And so, for most of you, you're going to have to decommoditize yourself and stop basing your pitches based on price. So, listen to what Nick's saying, and this kind of touches this whole idea, like the power of storytelling, marketing, and branding. If you look at Hollywood movies, things like Marvel Avengers, why Spider-Man is so attractive to young children, and for all you weirdos out there, not attractive in a fucking weird way. Why Hulk is such a compelling character for young boys. It's the isomorphism. It's that they can see themselves inside of Hulk being
Hmm.
strong. And so you must encompass that in your branding and storytelling. So, Nick, what's the one thing that if someone could go out there, because marketing is what gets people in the door, branding is what keeps them coming through the door over and over. So it keeps you
Hmm.
going through the McDonald's drive-thru. It's when, what does Alex Hormozy say? It's when experience exceeds expectations. Congratulations, you have a brand. So what's something they can do to increase that? Because you're doing really well with it.
Well, my philosophy is kind of what people can see that I've done if they follow me is that I just don't gatekeep the information. Like I don't think that it does. I know there is a bunch of, different perspectives in the marketplace, but Gary V kind of has it too, is like, let's just give first. Because like realistically, I get the skepticism around insurance agents doing this because like other people, if you have people commenting under your stuff organically or whatever, somebody else could theoretically take your client. But if you're the undisputed expert, then like would they really, you should have enough contact points with the people that you consider a lead that nobody else can really approach them and you at least not be in their corner to that degree. I know you can't be that to everyone, but for most agents, from having me talk to a bunch of agents the last few years, I think most people will benefit from an extra one or two qualified people coming to see them every day. It's not like you need to manage an extra few thousand qualified leads a month to really get them where they want to be to see a significant difference. And so, if there was one thing they could do, it would just put out their beliefs and put out their spin on their services out there. It's like, I see so many people do this every week where they just post their like brochure of their IMO opportunity and it's like a checklist of all the things but they don't explain what any of those checkpoints are. And so if you just go deeper on those points that you already have, it's like Experior, for example, they've adopted some leads and things that people can use, but they're still a more of a network marketing style company. Like their system is built for you to be a builder. And so if you're not one of those companies, if you have a system that thrives on leads or whatever, say that you have leads and explain what that means. Explain the nuances of your leads versus the other things. It's not like every post needs to be super in-depth long form, but if there's no substance behind what you're sharing, people can't tell the difference between you and the other guy that posted an opportunity last week. You're all saying you have leads and you have a system, but what does that mean? What does that look like? Because my system looks nothing like most people's systems, and that's bad for some people. Some people don't want to be held accountable for their copywriting and for the stuff that they're putting out. They don't want to follow up with their people. And it's like, well, if you don't want to do those things, there's a way we can mitigate some things. We can hire a VA, we can do some things. But if you don't fundamentally want to follow the system that you're supposed to use for your business, then that's that's the key of everything. It doesn't matter if it's my system or Experiors or FFLs or whatever. If you don't follow, if you're not coachable to the structure that they're offering to the highest level, you can modify it a little bit to what you're trying to do, but you shouldn't go against the grain. I mean, you just can't join a company that's going to offer you 40% comp and do as well as somebody who has a lead resource and has 140% comp trying to run leads in the same model. You just won't be profitable. And I'm not going to say it's impossible, but you're just going against the grain. And so that's one of the things what I mean by strategy is like you have to think about your business plan. You have to think about your marketing plan and how all these things come together because there are things that just don't play well together.
Yeah, I'd say for some, if you're all like make your audience single moms or something, or if we're just go target a bunch of women and just empower them. Say, you go, queen, whatever you need to do. Women to control 85% of the economy. And guess what? They'll guilt trip the ever living shit out of their husbands. So go tell them how insecure and unsafe they are, and watch how many more policies you start selling simply by telling other people no. You create boundaries. I love that you're saying this because I'll never forget the conference I went to, and there was a guy who came up. He said, "Everybody, put your hands up and do this. If they have one of these, that's your customers, and those are your recruits." And I said, "Get the fuck out of here! What do you? Go pick up Eugene Schwarz. If anybody wants a free copy of Eugene Schwarz, I'm sure there's something out there you can do, or there's YouTube channels who have read it. The best marketing book out there. Robert Collier letter book. Claude Hopkins, Truth in Advertising. Go learn. Go learn. I know you don't want to pick up a book since you graduated high school, but it's go listen to what Nick's saying. He knows what he's
Right.
talking about.
Well,
Okay.
that bugs me a lot because people will come to me and they haven't really changed their situation in a while, or like they'll tell me kind of what they want, but they haven't done anything about it. I'm like,
Hey,
there's
Nick, I
like,
still have the same problem I talked to you about last time. I didn't do anything with it. Can you help me?
right. It's
Huh?
like your first job is to learn what you should do, right? If you don't like something, you have to learn what the possibilities are of changing it. Like realistically, nowadays, you could literally type into ChatGPT, what are 5 ways that I could go about changing my circumstances if these are the things I don't like about them? And you would be farther ahead than 90% of people if you spent 30 seconds and did that, because at least you wouldn't be guessing what your pathways to explore are. And clarity is a huge thing. And so it just baffles me sometimes when people are like, I can't figure out how to get free leads. I'm tired of buying leads. And it's like, well, did you go through the 100 hours of free training in my Facebook group? Like I'm not gatekeeping it. It's like, I'm not even saying that to, of course it's a nurture platform. I'm not saying that to be salesy, but like it's literally out there. You could use it and get results this week. And like most people who have a brand have something for you to go through that will help you, right? Like generally people who have gotten pretty far ahead, they want to help other people, right? Like I heard you probably know who Owen Cook is, right? He used to go by RSD Tyler. He's got a short that I saw last night on YouTube, and he was talking about like people underestimate the power of a book, right? It's like there are people who have struggled for years and for decades, and they'll put millions of dollars worth of knowledge in the writing inside of a book or inside of a $20 ebook or a short course or something, and literally save you decades, but people underestimate the value of it just because it's cheap, right? And it's like, no, you may not be able to gather the same level of like internalized lessons that they have gone through the experiences, but you can pick up the strategies and the concepts pretty easily and relatively cheap compared to what it costs to actually learn that lesson for yourself. And it's all out there. I mean, there's like millions of people who wrote books.
Napoleon Hill's fantastic for insurance agents, and not to Think and Grow Rich, but some of his unpublished books that I know Russell Brunson bought the rights to and republished. There's a lot of stuff about what insurance agents used to do. They'd go give out books to people, and that was their conversation starter for sales. It'd all be about tax books and income increase books and shit like that. And a lot of insurance salespeople sold a lot of policies through giving out $5, $10 books. So that's
Mhm.
fantastic. Nick, this has been really valuable for the agents and agency owners listening. You want to learn more about what you do. Tell us who's a good fit to work with you and how they can get in touch.
Yeah, so I primarily work with people that are really serious about growing an agency. And I say I can't help an agent that doesn't want to recruit or they want to push it off a few years, but I really excel at helping people get quality recruits because we build out a brand ecosystem for them where people really understand what they're getting involved in before they get on the interview, right? They've kind of made their mind up, or at least they have some semblance of what they're understanding, right? The second thing is for people that want to create a dynamic client journey for their leads to go through. So if they're not building a team, but they're looking to really experience lead quality at the highest level. Like they know exactly what the person's going to say, why they showed up there, what they want. They have maybe there's a plethora of things that they can extract from for the sales opportunity, but they know what those things are. Those points are in their system, right? Those are the type of things I like to build for people to create quality. So I'm not so much the lead volume guy. It's like sometimes it baffles me when people are like, I just need more leads. And it's like, well, you can buy some for like 50 cents. If it's that simple, why don't we do that? But I really work well with people who feel they have an obligation to pass down a true blueprint to their team. They they want to bring lead generation, at least to some degree, internally into their business, and they want to document the processes of winning plays and those SOPs that are required to get results. And they don't want to just stick their head in the sand and have somebody else do it for them. They want to be able to partner with an agency that they outsource stuff or a VA or somebody and tell them what to do because they have the playbooks already. They're not hoping someone can get them results. And so those are the type of people that work best with me because our work can be long term. Sometimes it's not a quick fix to figure out your messaging and positioning. Usually people have made a quite a mess of trying a bunch of different things and not really sticking to something long enough to know what works for what different things. And so what works best for people is three things really. If they're trying to build a team fast, if they're really focused on quality leads, or if they want to get into the IUL game, where we're talking a little bit more about things other than just life insurance. We're talking about the scope of retirement, taxes. They're willing to learn some of these things that don't technically fall under the umbrella of insurance agent, so they can master communication, so they can learn effective sales and lead generation and understand what people are talking about when they are sharing their wants and needs, and it's not immediately a light bulb in their head of, okay, this is how I can serve them. So those are the areas that I really go deep with people, deeper than most people will. And the type of results people can expect is that they'll be able to generate leads organically. Maybe not to the tune of thousands of leads a month, because I'm pretty big on not doing high production, high editing stuff, especially in the beginning. I think what traps a lot of people is they hear a lot of advice online and it's not really bad. It's just not in the right order. It's like for most agents, they probably don't need to start a YouTube channel tomorrow. YouTube and TikTok have an amazing ability to reach people, help somebody go viral, but the goal is not necessarily to go viral. I talked to a guy a couple weeks ago and he's getting 400,000 views on his average TikToks, but he doesn't know where his next leader appointment's coming from. And so it's not that what he's doing is wrong or that it can't work. It's just that he didn't build the foundation. He didn't raise his
He has no direct response
appointments.
marketing integrated into what he's doing.
I love Facebook and LinkedIn as a starting place for most people because you can do all steps of the sales process on one platform. You don't have to build a Frankenfunnel. You can build your list there, you can nurture them there, you can do appointment setting there, and you can do the content there. And so I think a lot of people burn out trying to be omnipresent when they don't even have a fundamental message that's working to begin with. And so you can't scale something that's broken. And ads or doing multiple platforms is kind of the same thing. Like I think a lot of people they instantly go to, I need leads, I'm going to run an ad, but they have no idea what they should say in the ad to get the lead or get the quality lead they want. And so it's not that you can't do that and get some data points. It's just that, a lot of people also don't pair their plan of success with a mindset that would make sense. It's like, okay, if you're going to give up on ads the first time you lose $200 or $1,000, you're not fundamentally following a structure that can allow you to get results. You need that to run in the background. And so ads means eyeballs, not leads. Same with if you're going to post on Instagram and YouTube and TikTok. It's like first, you have to get the message right. You have to make sure that message pairs well with what you're selling, with how you're going to be able to structure your routine. I mean, I don't know many people that are making 100K a month selling final expense on their own pen. I know a lot of people that can do that with a huge team, but there's a lot of people that can make 100K selling IULs. And so you have to fundamentally build a structure that matches the message and matches the process for the phase you're in at business.
And
Like,
where can they go to get that structure and stuff from you? Like, how can they get in touch?
well, I primarily operate on Facebook. So they can follow me at facebook.com/the tyrant with two E's. I have a Facebook group called Seven Figure Team Building Secrets for Life Insurance Agents. I post in there every week. They usually do a live stream at least 45, 50 weeks out of the year. And that's a great place for them to follow me, get in touch with me. That's my preferred way is that you don't call me or email me. I don't check that stuff. At least not as regularly as I do my messenger. So that would be the best place to reach me and to absorb some of my stuff, figure out who I am, what you like and don't like about me. And if you're looking to go faster than that, I would just book a call. I have a Calendly. It's calendly.com/ace systems. So I named my company ACE. It stands for audience, content, and engagement. And not engagement in the way of like comments and likes under your videos, because I know nobody really wants that if it doesn't mean business. I mean engaging with your sales process. Your hooks, your angles, your positioning actually attracted them to be interested in the service. And you have a way to convert people into clients. It bugs me when people have tried a lot of different things and I ask them like, "Hey, why didn't it work?" And they're like, "I don't know." To me, that's unacceptable. As a marketer that goes deep in marketing with people, it's okay to say that a campaign bombed and it didn't get results, but it's not okay to not know why or what you would actually adjust to make it go in the right direction. That's just understanding the attribution points and the metrics and what it looks like to have a coherent process from A to Z. And that's what I'll give to people that they won't learn in other programs is that, I'm not going to say everyone, I have the best thing ever, that my stuff always gets results, right? But if they follow the process, they'll learn how to fish and they'll learn how to tweak things. And that's going to give them the power to have influence over their campaigns and influence over the people coming into their materials, their lead generation process, their anything where they're building awareness around their brand.
Yeah, so that's really good, Nick. You guys go follow him. We're going to wrap up here. You guys go comment down below. Thanks to Saint Nick Early for sharing his insights on marketing for insurance agents. For those of you interested in learning more, I'll have Nick's links down below in the description. And if you'd like to be a guest on Policy and Profit, we're always looking for successful agents and agency owners doing at least 10K a month in commissions. You can apply at the link down below in the description to be interviewed. And one more time, if you want to stop getting people on your team that never sell anything and drain your time and your energy, and you want to recruit the right people the first time on autopilot and fill your agency with rock stars, go to writemorepolicies.com/playbook. Until next time, keep building that commission machine. Nick, you crushed it, dude. Great job.